Sagama, Padamare, Ni, Ni, Re, Ma, Dhapa, Ga, 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 Sagapa, Padamare, Ni, Ni, Re, Ma, Dhapa, Ga, 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 Mana, Manatil ध्यासा मधुनी, उमले फलश्रुती, सरस्वतीच्या गाभाऱ्यातील ज्योती फलश्रुती, मना मनातील ध्यासा मधुनी, उमले फलश्रुती, सरस्वतीच्या गाभाऱ्यातील ज्योती फलश्रुती.
I am Ms. Arundhati Rane, retired Vice Principal of DG Ruparel Junior College. I take pleasure in introducing our popular and vibrant teacher in the subject of economics, Ms. Anuja Inamdar from DG Ruparel Junior College. She has done MA in economics and also B.Ed. She has worked as external and internal examiner for HSC State Board examination. She has attended various workshops and webinars. She has participated in the faculty development program on evolution from offline to online teaching, which is a need of the hour. Today you are being taught online where you are missing some writing skills. Phalashruti is striving hard to give you this writing practice. Anuja madam will guide and help you in the subject of economics to shine through this phase of your life. Phalashruti has chosen this dynamic and smart teacher to solve your difficulties in the subject of economics. So all of you just sit back and enjoy the journey through the syllabus of economics. Queries may be asked through the chat box. Anuja madam will now take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Rani ma'am. I hope I am properly audible.
Yes.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. You all are appearing for HSC board examination in 2021. So, you have nearly 3 to 4 months in your hand to prepare for the exam, right? So, for that, a proper planning and time management has to be followed to give equal justice to all your subjects. So, if you start preparing now by understanding the various economic concepts, terminologies, and apart from the understanding and the learning part, if you equally give importance to the writing practice, then you will not be burdened in the last month and you can revise the entire syllabus with great ease. So, to score good marks in economics, you should know the paper pattern, unit-wise weightage, then the internal evaluation structure, and so on. So, in today's session, we will be discussing about it all. So, without wasting your further time, let's begin the session. Before that, let me share my screen. Now, this year, the Maharashtra State Bureau of Textbook Production and Curriculum Research have revised the curriculum and also have introduced the new textbook for 12th standard. Okay, so this year you have been introduced to very popular and the two important branches of economics, that is microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay, so if you observe your textbook, this year we have 10 chapters, right? And out of which the first 5 chapters, right, they basically discuss the concepts of microeconomics. Okay, so where we will be discussing about the concepts like utility, supply analysis, forms of market, and so on. Then the chapters from 7th to 10th. These chapter it discuss about the various concepts related to the macroeconomics. Okay, so therefore we will be discussing about the national income, then money market, similarly the various types of, we can say that the budget and so on, right? So therefore the knowledge of both the branches of economics, that is micro and macroeconomics, will definitely help us to understand the development of the economy. And specifically the 6th chapter which is left off, so this 6th chapter which basically belongs to the statistics, so it also helps us in order to understand the changes in price and the quantity of any particular commodity. So as far as the syllabus is concerned, what we can basically draw the inferences from the syllabus, that this curriculum is a student centric curriculum, it's activity based curriculum. So therefore whenever you read any particular chapter, you will get some, we can say that the headings like complete the following table, or find out the examples for various types of elasticity and so on. So therefore it's activity based, lot of practical significance, because here we will be discussing about the concepts like national income, trade, so that you can relate it to the world which is realistic. The main purpose of this subject is nothing but to understand the development of the country. That is the main aim. Similarly, it prepare you all to face the new challenges in the competitive age based on information and technology. Now, it is very important for all of us to know the paper pattern for this particular subject. Okay, now, as far as this subject is concerned, the total marks which are allotted to this particular subject is nothing but the 100 marks. Okay, out of which you will be having, we can say that the 80 marks which are allotted for the board written paper, and for which the duration is 3 hours, and the remaining this remaining 20 marks, for which this from this year onwards you will be having internal evaluation test or the internal assessment. So this internal assessment, this test specifically conducted at the college level itself. So it's like a unit test, or we can say that such a type of a small test will be conducted by your respective colleges, but this test is also based on the entire syllabus. Okay, so some structure for this internal assessment we will be also discussing in this session. First, let's basically focus on the 80 marks. Yeah, so for which 3 hours are basically allotted. So let's understand the paper pattern for the 3 hours. Now, as far as this particular, we can say that the 80 marks are concerned, as I said in the beginning, 3 marks are allotted for each, yeah, for which, and if we observe the question number 1, here they have basically given total 8 parameters, and out of which the any 4 parameters can be asked in the exam. Now, before that, let me tell you all, this question number 1, it carries how many marks? The total marks which are allotted for the question number 1 is 20 marks. Okay, and where each, we can say that the parameter, any 4 parameters can be asked, where each parameter carries 5 marks. So therefore 5 fours are 20, right? So therefore any 4 parameters can be asked in the exam, where you will not get the options with the question number 1. Okay, where the each statement carries 1 mark, And therefore, here you can observe in the second column that all the 4 parameters that will be asked in the exam of each 5 marks. So therefore, total marks are allotted is 20. So it is very important for all of us to understand that how to answer the each parameter, because their criteria is completely different. Yeah. So therefore, let's see each parameter in detail. First one is choose the correct option. In this kind of the question, here you can observe that you will get one statement along with the 4 different options. Okay, so here the options, the correct option we are supposed to choose. The correct alternative will be the answer for this. So with this particular question, the economist who used the terms micro and macro first time, you know that it is nothing but the Ragnar Frisch. Now, one important thing will come here is nothing but while answering this question, make sure that you will write down the option number correctly and also the answer. Like many times, it happens that the students just write down the answer as it is, or either they just write the option. Okay, so make sure that while answering this kind of the question, you will be also writing the option number correctly and the answer for the option. So this is how you are supposed to answer the first question, that is choose the correct option. Now similar like this statement, 5 statements will be asked and this question carries 5 marks. The second type of the question that can be asked in the exam is complete the correlation. Now, here, what is the structure of this particular question? Here, you can observe that you will get 2 pairs. Okay, and we are supposed to find out the answer for any one pair. Okay, here the first pair is given, that is trade deficit, export and import, and we are supposed to find out the answer for trade surplus. So for which we need to analyze the relation between the first pair and accordingly you will answer the second pair. Okay, now here the trade deficit we called when our export is less than import. On the other hand, trade surplus stands for what? It is nothing but when the export of the country is greater than the import. So therefore, first we will see the analyze the relation between the first pair and accordingly we will find out the answer for the another pair. This is how we are supposed to write the answer for complete the correlation. The third type of the question is give economic term. Here what happens, here you will get one statement, okay, which might be a definition or we state a meaning of any specific economic concept. Okay, so by observing the statement, we need to just identify the correct economic term. Let's take one example. Here, the statement is a sum of money granted by the state to help an industry to keep the price of commodity low. Now, this can be a definition or a meaning of the statement. Now, we need to identify the correct economic term. So, here the answer is nothing but the subsidy. It is nothing but the definition of the term subsidy. So, similar like we can say that like this, the another we can say that the 4 questions can be asked in economic terms. Now, how we can prepare for this kind of the question? We need now when you read the textbook, you might find that there are few we can say that the concepts which are highlighted. Okay, so you will find out the meaning and the definition of all these concepts in the glossary, which is on page number 99 of the textbook. So therefore, your concepts has to be very strong in order to solve the entire question number 1. Okay, so if you are very much clear with the concept, you can get maximum marks as far as the question number 1. So that glossary or the meaning and the definition of various economic concepts will definitely help you to get full marks as far as this type of question is concerned. The fourth type is nothing but find the odd word out. Quite easy question comparative to the other, where we need to just see the category of the question, and accordingly the wrong pair we are supposed to find out. Here the category that it is given is quantitative tools. Okay, so here we need to find out that which one is not the quantitative tools which are basically measured by the central bank. Options are bank rate, open market operation, foreign exchange rate, and variable reserve ratios. Right? So therefore, the answer for this is nothing but the foreign exchange rate, which is not a quantitative tool, which is basically measured by the central bank. So here, according to the category, you are supposed to find out the odd word, and that can be the answer for this. The next type of question is complete the following statement. Okay, so in case of this kind of the question, this is nothing but the extension of the fill in the blanks with appropriate answers. Yeah. So here you will get one fill in the blank along with the 4 options, and accordingly you are supposed to find out the correct answer for this. Now here, as per the law of diminishing marginal utility, measurement of utility is assumed to be dash. Okay, so here among the 4 options, we know that while studying the law of diminishing marginal utility, Alfred Marshall assumed that the utility has to be a cardinal concept. So therefore, our correct answer is what? B term, option B, that is cardinal. So here also make sure that you will write down the option number correctly along with the proper answer. The 6th type of question is nothing but choose the wrong pair. Okay, now what we are supposed to do? Here you will get 2 columns. Okay, and here you will get actually the 4 pairs among which we need to identify the wrong pair. So first you will find out which pairs are correct, and accordingly you will select the wrong one. So here, if we observe the first 4, we can first example here we can find out that the second concept, that is joint demand, the example they have given is tea coffee, but tea and coffee are the 2 rivals. We called it as a substitute goods, right? Not joint commodity. So therefore, our correct answer for this is nothing but the wrong pair is nothing but the joint demand. Joint demand is what? The commodities which are demanded jointly. So to make a tea, milk, water, your tea powder, all these commodities are also required. So we can say that those commodities are nothing but having joint demand. But tea and coffee are the substitute commodities. So therefore, this is the wrong pair. The 7th question is assertion and reasoning question. Okay, now this is also an extension of true and false. Okay, but how to basically answer this kind of the question? First, what you will do is nothing but here you will get assertion, reasoning along with the 4 options. So what you will do first? You will first read the assertion and the reasoning, and first let's decide whether it is true or false, and then we will come to the option. Okay, now here assertion is stock is a source of supply. So yes, stock is a source of supply, so therefore this statement is true. So let me write T over here. Reasoning, stock refers to the entire quantity of a commodity which is in the custody of the seller. So therefore, yes, it is nothing but a quantity which is obviously it is in the custody of the seller. It is in the warehouse, or the quantity which is kept in, we can say that the godowns, that we called as a stock. So therefore, this statement is also true. Now let's come to the, once we state that whether it is true and false, let's come to the option. Okay, now here if you observe the first and the second option, in which one statement is like either reasoning is false or assertion is false. So it means the first and the second option will not be the answer for this. Then let's come to the third and the fourth one. What is the option? Both A and R, that is assertion and reasoning, are true. Here Both they are true. So therefore, answer obviously from either third or the fourth one. Now, once they both are true, we need to again check whether the R, that is reasoning, is the correct justification for the assertion or not. Okay, so whether this is a particular explanation for the assertion or not. Now in this case, here they have given the definition of stock as far as the reasoning is concerned. So it means that the reasoning is the correct explanation for the assertion, and therefore with this particular we can say that the question are option third, that is both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A is the answer. Again, while writing this kind of the question, while solving this kind of the question itself, make sure that you will write down the option number, that is A, B, C, or even 1, 2, 3 correctly, and similarly write the entire option as your answer. Kindly don't skip any step. Next is eighth one is identify the right group of pairs from the given option. Okay, so here what is this is nothing but a extension of the match the column. Okay, along with the group A and B, here you will also get the 4 options. So what you are supposed to do is nothing but you need to first, we can say that the find out the answer for group A. You need to first match the pair, and accordingly you need to find out the answer for this. So therefore here we can observe that the option 1 is nothing but the correct answer for this, where index number we called it as nothing but the economic barometer, dearness allowance we called it as nothing but the cost of living, base year in index number we always take is 100, and wholesale market goods we also measure with the help of wholesale price index. So once we basically find the answer for group A, then we will come to the option and we will select the correct option, and that we will write along with the correct option number. So this is very important while solving all the, we can say that the question number 1, all the parameters in question number 1. So by which we are basically done with the question number 1. So for question number 1, make sure that your concepts has to be very clear. Then only it will be very much easier for you to basically find out the answer and get maximum marks or full marks in question number 1. Compared to the last year, this year the question in the new pattern, the question number 1 carries 20 marks. In the earlier pattern, it was of only 16 marks. So obviously, if your concepts, if you are thoroughly ready with your concepts, then definitely you will get 20 marks from the 80 marks. So obviously, it is near, it makes a lot of difference to get, we can say that the full marks or a good marks in economics. Now let's come to the question number 2. Question number 2 is obviously of A and B. So here question number 2A is what? It is nothing but identify and explain the concept from the given illustration. Okay, now here you will get options. So you are supposed to write down any 3 out of 5, where each statement or each illustration here carries 2 marks. So therefore 3 2s are 6. Total marks are allotted is nothing but the 6 marks. Okay. Now in this kind of the question, here you will get in the question illustrations would be there. Okay. So here how to answer this question? First of all, let's basically come to the marking scheme and then let's come to the example. Here the 2 important things are there. Here what you are supposed to do is nothing but here what you are supposed to do is nothing but first is nothing but you need to identify the term and then you need to explain the term. Okay, so here out of these 2 marks, 1 mark is straightforward allotted for the identification of the concept, that which economic concept it is, and another mark is allotted for its explanation. and that also you are supposed to explain in 2 to 3 lines. So you can write the definition for it. You can give one small example if it is possible, right? Then you can write down, we can say that the meaning for the statement if the definition is not there, right? So accordingly you are supposed to give the explanation. Let's come to the example that will it will help you to clarify the question. This is one illustration which is given. Ashish collected the data regarding the money value from this particular thing. We need to first come out to the concept. We need to analyze this example very clearly. Like here, what is basically given? Monetary value of all the final goods and the services that is also produced in specific countries given. Yeah, that is what we called as national income. And when this is also, we can say that the estimated for a financial year, where the national income is always estimated for one financial year, right? So from this particular part of the illustration, we can come to the concept that is nothing but the national income. So obviously this identification will carry 1 mark, and later on you are supposed to give the explanation for the concept. So income estimate measure the column of commodities and the services turned out during a given period, counted without duplication. It's a macro concept and flow concept. So similarly, you can give the explanation for this. For this question also, you can observe that you need to identify the concept. So your concepts has to be the very strong. Next is question. Here also you will get options. You are supposed to write down any 3 out of 5 where the each distinction carries 2 marks. So therefore 2 3s are 6. So total marks which are allotted for question number 2B is nothing but 6 marks. Okay. Now while writing the distinction question, you are like you are supposed to write only the 2 points. The minimum points you are supposed to write down is 2 points, where 1 mark is allotted out of 2 marks. 1 mark is allotted for the meaning and the definition, and another mark is allotted for the another point, so that also you can give example or if possible diagram. Then similarly the shape of the curve of the 2 different types of elasticity, you can also write it as another point. But my suggestion here is that always prepare yourself with the 3 points. Okay, what happens, if you only prepare with the 2 points for the each distinction, it may happen that while writing the exam, at the time of the writing the paper, you may not able to you may not recollect the second point. So in that case, if you just prepare with the 2 points, then it would be very difficult for you to you will be wasting your time just to recollect the answer. But if you are ready with the 3 points for the each distinction, you can write down some another point as a second point, right? So it saves your time also in this kind of the question. Now there are few, we can say that the concepts, like if the place utility and form utility, if it is asked for distinction, here first thing is nothing but you can give the definition for it, right? And second, here with respect to, now in case of utility, the example you can easily give. So give the second point as nothing but the example. Now there are few type of the questions, like if we take the example of price elasticity, type of price elasticity of demand, like relatively elastic and relatively inelastic demand. Here in this case, first point would be your meaning and the definition. Second point, you can write down either a shape of the curve, that in case of relatively elastic demand, your demand curve is of flatter shape, and in case of relatively inelastic demand, the demand curve is of, we can say that, the steeper shape, right? Or you can also draw the diagram as a second point. So this is how you are supposed to write the answer for distinction question. Let's come to the next part of the question paper, that is a short answers, we can say that the part here. So in question number 3, you are supposed to write down answer the following question, and here also you will get options. So you are supposed to write down any 3 out of 5, where each question carries 4 marks. So you can observe that this is a short kind of the question, a short answers, right? So obviously 4 threes are 12. So total marks which are allotted for question number 3 is nothing but the 12 marks, right? In this kind of the question, you are supposed to write down minimum 4 to 5 points after each answer. Now here, this is a we can say that the short answers. What we can basically suggest is nothing but if it is possible for you to write down the answer in points, then write answers in points only. Now, if we specifically look at the first 5 chapters, that is microeconomic part, okay, in that particular microeconomics, you will be learning also the types of utility, or you can say features of monopolistic competition. It is given in the textbook also point wise. Okay, so while writing this answer also, make sure that you will write in the form of point wise. There are 2 advantages for this. First of all, it looks good also when you give one heading and explanation for the explanation in the answer paper. And second advantage is nothing but it is also easier for you to recollect the answer, right? So to revise, you can revise the answers very quickly if it is there in the points. But if we observe the macroeconomic part, okay, where it is quite difficult for you to basically write down the answer in points, then don't basically go and force yourself to write down the answer in points. Okay, now here, if we observe, these are the few questions that can be asked for question number 3. If we specifically look at the question, that is fourth one, explain the circular flow of national income. Now, if you observe this question, this is from the macroeconomics, and this answer we can't, the answer for this, we can't write down in the point wise. Okay, so where a diagram is must, that is inner flow, outer flow you are supposed to show, and you can explain, we can say that the answer in the form of paragraph. So wherever it is possible, write the answer in paragraph, but wherever it is possible, it obviously depends upon the type of the question which is asked in the exam. But where if it is possible to write down the answer in point wise, write the answer in point wise. In this type of the question, 4 to 5 points you are supposed to write down along with the proper explanation. If the question requires diagram or a schedule, draw the diagram and the schedule wherever it is necessary. For example, if for the 4 marks question number 3, the question asked as explain the law of diminishing marginal utility. Now, in case of a law, any particular law, you are supposed to draw the diagram, that is shape of the law of diminishing marginal utility has to be shown, and the schedule, that is a numerical table which is there, that also you are supposed to draw. So obviously wherever it is necessary, you are supposed to draw the diagram and the schedule along with the correct explanation. This is in case of question number 3. Let's proceed. Let's come to question number 4. The question number 4 is state with the reasons whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Okay, so here you will get the statement. What you are supposed to do first is nothing but you need to state whether you are agree with it or disagree with it. And once you state that, you need to give the justification for your answer. Like if I state that I agree with this statement, then why I am agree with it, that you are supposed to write down. Okay, so here in this kind of the question, you will also get options. So you are supposed to write down any 3 out of 5 where each question carries 4 marks. Okay, so therefore 4 3s are 12. So total marks which are allotted for question number 4 is nothing but the 12 marks. As far as these 4 marks are concerned, which are allotted for the each question, are further divided among 2. Okay, Out of the first thing, out of 4 marks, 1 mark is straightforward there for stating whether you are agree or disagree with the statement. Okay, so make sure that if you just write down the agree or disagree correctly, out of 4 marks, 1 marks will be yours. Okay, and the 3 marks are allotted for the reason, for your justification. So in the justification, similar like question number 3, if minimum 4 to 5 points you are supposed to write down for each answer. Here also the rule is saying if it is possible for you to write down the question answer in point wise, write down. Like if the question belongs to the microeconomics, write the answer like types of demand. You can write down in point wise. So give heading, write down the explanation, give example in this particular case, right? So wherever the diagram or the examples are required, make sure that you will give the examples. Here, let's take one example quickly. So here, as I said in the beginning, let's take one example. Price is the only determinant of demand. So out of 4 marks, 1 mark is straightforward there for stating whether you are agree or disagree with the statement. Okay, so here in case of this particular question, it is not the only determinant that affect the demand, right? There are many others also. So therefore, first of all, we are disagree with it. So how we will write down the statement? We are supposed to write down agree or disagree with the help of a statement. So if you are disagree with the statement, you will write down no, I disagree with the statement. Make sure that when you write this entire statement carries 1 mark. Okay, many times students write the answer as we are agree with it is true, it is correct, it is right, wrong, and whether you're true or false, that is not asked. What is asked? Whether you are agree with the statement and disagree, and that also you are supposed to write down in the complete statement. So if you are disagree, you will write down the first statement as no, I disagree with the statement. So at least you will get 1 mark out of 4, and later on in the reasons you will write down the remaining 4 to 5 factors that affects the demand. So you can write down that income of the people, population, advertisement, and so on, the other factors that basically affects the demand. On the other hand, if you are if you are agree with the statement, okay, you will write down the statement as yes, I do agree with the statement. This entire statement carries 1 mark, and accordingly, you will write down the explanation for the justification. You will justify why you are basically agree with the statement. Yeah. So this is how you are supposed to answer the question number 4. Let's proceed. The next is question number 5. Study the following table with the table, figure, passage, and answer the question. So here you will get, we can say that the 3 different options out of which you are supposed to answer any 2. Okay, so here you are supposed to answer either A, B, or C, any 2. We can say that the questions you are supposed to attempt, and each question carries 8 marks. So therefore 4 twos are 8. Total marks which are allotted for this question is 8, and each question carries 4 marks, right? So here in case of a first one, read the following passage. You will get one comprehensive passage that is also unseen passage. Okay, may be related to any economic, we can say that the situation, any economic concept will be explained in the passage, and 4 questions or 3 questions will be asked on it, out of which the last question would be your opinion based question. In the last question they will ask your opinion on that respective topic. Okay, so for example, if in the exam you will get the question like COVID-19 and its effect on the world economy. This is a passage is about, and in the last question they will ask you that do you think that the COVID-19 has a negative impact on the Indian economy? State your opinion. So here with this particular question, your opinion carries, we can say that, the 1 or 2 marks. So make sure that you will basically invest your daily 5 minutes to read the news channels, or we can say to read the newspaper. Or if it is not possible, nowadays we have smartphone, so on Google also you can basically check the news. But you need to be updated with the current affairs, because that will help you to keep you updated also, at the same time to form your opinions on such a type of the question. Second B is observe the diagram. So here you will get the diagram either in the form of a frequency polygon, or we can say pie chart, and in maybe in any particular form of diagram, and on which also four or three questions will be asked, and here also one question will be of your opinion based. And the third is observe the table and answer the following questions. So here you need to observe the numerical table just like our schedules, okay, and accordingly you are supposed to state your opinion on that question which is basically asked. So this is how you are supposed to answer the question number 5. Okay, if we observe the question number 5, we can state that the very important part of this type of the question is that it may not be from the textbook. So how you can prepare for it? For that, you need to basically invest your daily 5 minutes to read your newspaper, to get updated with the current affairs of the world situation. That will definitely help you to make your opinions on the respective, we can say that, the economic, we can say that, the topics. Let's come to the next question, that is question number 6, and also very important question from the entire question, we can say that, the pattern, because it carries the maximum marks. Okay, so as far as the question is concerned, here you are supposed to write the answer in detail. Okay, here you are supposed to attempt any 2 out of 3, where each question carries 8 marks. So therefore 8 2s are 16 marks are allotted for this. In this question, make sure that you will start your answer always with the introduction. So whatever the question is, okay, you are supposed to write down the introduction for it. Okay, then with for answering the question of law, follow a proper pattern. We will see the pattern when you are writing any answer for any particular law. But there are few different kinds of the question. If it is asked, minimum 6 to 8 points you are supposed to write down along with the proper explanation. So make sure that you will explain the 6 and 8 points in detail. So for example, if the question is asked is state what is national income and explain the theoretical difficulties, theoretical difficulties of national income. Okay, now in this kind of the question, when you are attempting for answer in detail, first step is nothing but give introduction. So write down the definition for national income, give explanation for the national income, and second part is nothing but theoretical difficulties. So nearly 6 to 8 points, 8 difficulties you are supposed to write down along with the proper explanation. Okay, so here also you will write down one heading, that if first is nothing but the transfer payment. If it is the first difficulty, give heading. On the next line, write down the proper explanation. So this is how you are supposed to answer the question number 6. Now let's come to the law part. As I said earlier, it specifically different kind of the laws which are mostly asked for question number 6. How to answer this question? Okay, when you are writing a law, we are supposed to follow a particular format, because that format carries marks. Okay, here if the question is explain the law of supply along with its exception. So first of all, let's analyze the question very correctly. What is asked? Law of supply asked, and along with what? Its exception. So these two things that you are supposed to write down. Now in case of law, how to basically start the answer? Always start your answer with the introduction. So here, as far as the law is concerned, This law was developed by Professor Alfred Marshall. His name of the book, that is Principles of Economics. Year of publication, that is 1890. Right? So therefore, this is nothing but the introduction for the law. Then second would be the statement of the law. So you are supposed to write down the statement as it is. According, the other things are being equal and whatever the statement is. Yeah. Third is nothing but the schedule and diagram along with its explanation. So you will draw the numerical table and the diagram, and you will also give the explanation for the each. And the fourth part is nothing but the assumption. So here you will write down the assumption in, that is also 4 to 5 points for the assumption. This is what for what? This is nothing but for the first part, that is law of supply. So if you write all the 4 points correctly, you will get 5 marks out of 8. Okay, and 3 marks are allotted for the exception, that is second half. So after which, once you've done with the law, that is after the assumption, you will explain all the exceptions along with the diagram. Now, especially in case of law, labor supply curve is the diagram, right? So that diagram you will definitely draw along with the other, we can say that the various exceptions. So therefore, the second half carries 3 marks. So this is how the 8 marks are further divided among 2. Many times, 2 different kinds of the questions, they club together in the question number 6. The second example is explain the income and expenditure method for measuring national income. So here you can observe that these are the 2 different questions. So in such a type of the question is asked, 4 marks are straightforward allotted for income method, and 4 marks are allotted for the expenditure method. So while writing the answer for this, you also need to give the example. Schedule is there for income and expenditure method that you are supposed to draw along with the explanation. So this is how you are supposed to, we can say that the answer question number 6, which is the which carries 8 marks. So this is especially for the 80 marks paper. Now let's come to the internal question pattern. As far as this internal evaluation is concerned, which is, as I said in the beginning, it is of 20 marks. Okay. Now this particular test will be conducted at your college level. Okay. But this test will be also on entire syllabus. So your entire syllabus, they are taken into consideration. The time allotted for which is nothing but the 1 hour. In this kind of the question, you are supposed to write down the answer on the same sheet. So it is just like the worksheet on the same on the same question paper. You are supposed to write down the answer. Here in this kind of the test, you will get a proper timetable from the college. The way the college put the timetable for the each exam, the oral exam. Similarly, college will also give you, we can say that, the timetable for this kind of the test, and the record must be kept for the 1 year. Let's come to the structure. As far as the 20 marks test is concerned, it is specially for 1 hour, out of which question number 1 is choose the correct option. So we have seen the example in the question number 1 of 80 marks paper. So I am not just repeating the same, where the 4 statements would be there. Each statement carries 1 marks. So total 4 marks are allotted for this kind of the question. Find the odd word. So here also 4 statements would be there. Each statement carries 1 marks. So the total marks are allotted for this question is also 4. Complete the correlation, 4 marks are there, and give economic term, 4 marks are allotted. Now specifically, if we focus on the note, that similar like question number 1, or especially for 80 marks, in this kind of the test also, the college has a complete right to select any 4 parameters out of the 8 parameters which we have discussed. Okay, so therefore, but this from the board, these 4 parameters have basically come, and question number 5 is nothing but study the following situation and express your opinion on the situation. So here you will get the 2 situations. okay, and which you are supposed to state your opinion, where 2 marks are allotted for each situation. So therefore total marks which are allotted for question number 5 is also of 20. So therefore 5 questions, 4 of each. Similarly 20 marks are allotted, distributed. So here, if we observe the question number 5, for this also we can basically, read the newspaper, or we can gather the economic information regarding to the changes in the world economy. That will definitely help us to, make our opinion more qualitative in the nature. Next part is of unit wise distribution of the marks. Okay, now actually this year you don't need to keep certain, now there are many students who usually keep certain portion for the option, but this year you will have a great advantage that the board itself, the state government has already reduced 25% portion. So you don't need to keep anything for the option as such. So therefore, as far as the unit wise, if we focus on especially the chapters like demand analysis 3A carries 8 marks, elasticity of demand 8 marks, similarly index number, national income, public finance in India, money and capital market, these chapters carries 8 marks. Okay, so out of, we can say that the 80 marks, straightforward 8 marks that can be further divided. Some of marks can be asked in the objective, can be asked for, we can say true, we can say short answers, and similarly they will further divide. But along with, we can say, these chapters, the first and the second chapter is equally important. Okay, because objective type of the question can be asked on any particular chapter. So we need to focus all the chapters, we can say that the equally, but still also if we keenly observe, you can observe that out of 10 chapters, the first 9 chapters, they more or less get 7 or 8 marks each. So therefore, comparative to the we can say the last chapter, the first 9 chapters you can focus on, right? So here also 4 marks are allotted, but apart from that, the first 9 chapters you can basically focus on. So this is for the unit wise weightage for the test. Let's come to the very important part for the year, that is nothing but the reduced portion. This year, the government has basically reduced 25% of the portion. So therefore, you will be having exam on the 75% portion only. Okay, so as far as economics is concerned, let's quickly go through the reduced portion. This is specially for this academic year, that is 2020 and 21. So here you can observe chapter wise, we can say that the subtopics are basically reduced. So from the first chapter, you can take the screenshot if you want to. Introduction to the micro and macroeconomics from the page 1 and 2, especially from the second column, the highlighted chart is basically reduced. Then from the third and the fourth page, importance of microeconomics, all the 7 points are reduced. From page number 5 and 6, importance of macroeconomics, all the 7 points are reduced. Again, the highlighted chart from the page number 6 is also reduced. Then the utility chapter from the page number 11, you should know paragraph. That highlighted chart is completely reduced. On page number 14, significance of law is basically reduced. All the 4 points are basically reduced. From the question number third chapter, that is 3A demand analysis, on page 19, reasons justifying the downward sloping demand curve, all the 5 points are basically reduced. Similarly, on page number 25, you should know a chart, which is highlighted chart is omitted. From fourth chapter, elasticity of demand, from page number 27, you should know highlighted chart, that is 3 different types of income elasticity of demand is omitted. On page number 28, 3 different types of cross elasticity of demand is basically omitted. Page number 33, factors influencing the elasticity of demand, all the 9 points are allotted along with the you should know, that is that highlighted chart. From page number 34, importance of elasticity of demand, all 6 points are basically reduced. From the 5th chapter, on page number 39, determinants of supply is omitted. Then on page number 43 also highlighted, we can say that the chart is omitted. From 5th chapter, forms of market, types of monopoly, and the other highlighted charts are omitted from page number 49. Index number chapter, here you should know chart is omitted from page number 53, 54 and 58, 59. National income, here also on page number 63, 66 and 68, the highlighted charts are omitted, and importance of national income. From public finance chapter, classification of public expenditure. Then on page number 74, that 4 canons of taxation, types of budget, importance of budget is reduced. Then from 9th chapter, that is money market and capital market, problems of the Indian money market and the problems which are faced by the capital market is omitted. And from the last chapter, that is foreign trade of India, trends in the India's foreign trade since 2001, recent trends in export and import is omitted. So therefore, as far as the 80 marks portion is concerned, this reduced 80 marks questions will not be asked on these reduced portion, but for the internal assessment, the board has specifically written that it is these reduced portion is kept for Swayam Adhyayan. Now, Swayam Adhyayan stands for what? It is nothing but the self-study. So it might possible that for the internal evaluation, your respective colleges might ask the question on this kind of the reduced portion. So before that, make sure that for the internal evaluation, whether it will there or not, ask your respective college teachers. Now let's see a quick guidelines. What or we can say these are the guidelines will definitely help you to basically write the paper in especially for 3 hours. So always start your question on the new page. Make sure that you will write the question number and sub question number properly, right? Especially for question number 1. Yeah, so A, B, C, D, 4 different types of the questions would be there. Even if its answer also you have seen that A, B, C, D options is only there. So make sure that you will write down the option number and the correct answer, and that is also sub question and the question number properly. To prepare for the exam, textbook is the most important tool you can refer to. Yeah, so rather than depending on any particular reliable or we can say any further notes, make sure that the notes are basically from the textbook. It is the best source to focus on. Obviously, your handwriting has to be readable and neat. Now, you are obviously not in the stage of your life where you can, practice the handwriting. But whatever your handwriting is of, make sure that it is properly readable and neat. So underline the headings. Yeah, leave one, we can say one line in between while writing the points. So that will have always a good impression on the examiner for your answers. Then give headings to the points and underline the headings. That was we just have discussed. Solve the exercise given in the textbook, which will give you a complete outlook for the objective question. As we have discussed in the beginning, that 8 parameters can be given. So out of which any 4 parameters can be asked. So in the exercises, all the chapters, all these 8 parameters are discussed by the committee. Then your selection of question is important. This is especially for the short answers and the long answer question. Then time management has to be followed while writing the paper. Yeah, so especially for 3 hours. And as far as the economics paper was concerned, till last year, many times we get the comments that, ma'am, the paper was very easy, but it was very lengthy. Right, so you need to have a coordinate. You need to keep a tab on your writing speed and the timings. Yeah. Then invest your daily 5 minutes to read the newspaper. Yeah, that will definitely help you to get to state your opinion, to form your opinion which will help you to get good marks in internal evaluation also, and on question number 5 for the 18 marks. Practice the graphs regularly so that you will draw the correct shape of the curve. Yeah, and especially the diagrams, always use pencil. Okay, make sure that, and that also you will label the graph correctly. Learn the formulas for index number and elasticity of demand, right? So the derivation of elasticity formulas, it is given for price elasticity, income, cross. So make sure that you will learn these formulas correctly. Practice the solve example and the exercises, especially for the index number chapter. That will give you a idea how to solve the last page and the Paasche index number sums. As far as the diagram is concerned, most of the time we are using the various types of the graphs, right? So make sure that you will label the graph correctly. It means on x-axis which variable you are measuring, on y-axis what you are measuring. Similarly, give the proper, draw the proper arrows, give the headings to the curve, like whether it is demand curve or a supply curve. Yeah, similar like other, we can say that the graphs. Accordingly, make sure that you will draw the correct shape of the curve and label them. So for the 3 years and for the 3 hours, and at the same time, we can say that for the entire year, make sure that you don't need to, study in stress. So don't be stressed. Always give your best. And when you are writing the paper, forget the rest. So forget that at that time, your hobby or anything, forget for that 3 hours, just give your best shot, and we can say that this will definitely help you to, we can say, make your journey comfortable. I hope whatever we have discussed will help you to write the answer also and to prepare for the exam. Thank you. Over to you,
Thank
Veena
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, Anuja. Are there any queries? Hello, Anuja, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any queries?
I don't think so, ma'am. It is not visible on my screen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anuja. I'm so impressed. I'm sure students, you all are too. Phalashruti will bring you many more such teachers who are going to guide you through your HSC year. What you need to do, you just stay focused, don't get distracted. And now enjoy your lunch. Let us conclude this session. Thank you so much.